Raising funds for your school can be extremely difficult, especially now under lockdown, after all of the economic issues that we have in the country. Parents are not earning as much. There's not a lot of disposable income, and schools are really feeling it. A lot of parents are not paying school fees, and schools need to supplement their budget. So I thought, let's chat to Albert van Wyk. Albert is a entrepreneur. He's also one of the youngest millionaires in South Africa. He made his first million at the age of 22 through doing property investment. He wrote a book about it, becoming a millionaire at 22. He also has a company called Gazaroo that specializes in digital communication, assisting companies with their online presence. But what I thought is, let's chat to somebody outside of education, somebody that knows how to run a business, that's made money, about how schools can make money. And the amazing thing that Albert did in this interview is he talked about a mindset shift, that we shouldn't see schools as just merely a school, but that we should run a school like a business. And he shared with us some strategy, but also the two of us got into some practical examples of what schools can do to raise some money. I'm really excited to hear your responses to the interview that I had with Albert. So please share your responses on the social media platform of your choice. Hi, my name is Frans van Wyk, and I am a super teacher, and this is Super Teachers Unite, the show that's all about motivating, inspiring, and supporting teachers. And with me, I've got my first ever returning guest on the Super Teachers Unite show, Albert van Wyk. Albert, it's nice having you with us again.
Hey, Fransha, it's nice being with you again. I'm always inspired with what you do in your industry, and I think we're going to have a great interview today.
Yes, exactly. I'm very excited to jump in. I'm not even going to do the normal spiel that we do with everything of our other episodes. I just actually want to get into this topic because what I've been seeing the last while, schools are taking a big knock. Schools are really struggling to find funds. One of the major reasons, parents are just saying, you know what, our kids aren't at school. They're not getting the education that they, in a traditional sense, would get. So we're not going to pay our school fees, which has got a major impact on our schools. And what I did, I reached out to Albert and I thought, you know what schools need is a bit more of an outsider's perspective. If we just keep on talking to teachers and principals, then we start remaining in what's the echo chamber. We just keep on chatting about the same things. But if we can reach out to an industry leader, an entrepreneur that can maybe give us ideas on how schools can change the way in which we think about raising funds for schools, and that's why I reached out to Albert. Now, for people who are meeting Albert for the first time, I've known Albert now for a few years, and we've had many great discussions along the way. But Albert was a millionaire at the age of 22, which in itself is absolutely amazing, and we'll jump into that a little bit later. But Albert is also a qualified industrial engineer and a South African entrepreneur. And from the work that we've been doing together and the chats we've had, Albert has got a lot of interest in property investment, as well. He's got his company called Gazaroo that's got a lot to do with online marketing, social media, websites, those kind of things. But Albert will be able to tell us a lot more about what Gazaroo does. So that's an absolute entrepreneur, born and bred, but his passion is to assist kids in learning financial literacy. And that's one thing in the first episode we did, that's now 18 months ago, Albert and I had a chat about how can teachers become financially independent. That was the topic of our first one. And I'm glad to have you back to chat to us about how schools can start thinking about fundraising ideas. But before we do that, Albert, you have to tell us, how do we become millionaires at the age of 22?
well, there's a lot of ingredients, Fransha, that you need to put in the recipe in order to become a millionaire at the age of 22. But long story short, I started when I was 10 years old with my first business. I was selling these plastic rubber strings at school called Scooby-Doos. And then that turned into a toy store. And then I started buying and selling all kinds of things like laptops and phones and, all kinds of things at school with my friends and stuff. And eventually I got into construction, like doing concrete slabs and carports. And I started buying and selling cars. And then I started buying and selling houses. So at age 19, I bought my first property and worked that property for 4 years as a multi-let. And then at age 22, I passed the millionaire mark. So that's the long story, very, very short. The main ingredient that I would say that I think contributed the most to my journey of becoming a millionaire was mindset. If you grow up like I did, I didn't grow up in a family that was wealthy. My parents weren't business owners. My parents weren't entrepreneurs. My parents didn't have a trust fund. I mean, I can remember getting to school and I saw all of these awesome toys that the kids had around me that we couldn't afford. I didn't even get pocket money. So I couldn't buy sweets at the tuck shop or buy my own, toys. And I think the biggest thing was mindset change. When I started asking my dad all of these questions, like, why can't we afford these things? And why can't we have that car? And why can't we stay in that house? He shared one of the most amazing principles with me, which was that, you know what, Albert, I'm not a millionaire and I cannot teach you these things. If you want to become a millionaire, you need to learn from a millionaire. And that's one of the principles that I stick with up until today. If you want to become a millionaire, you need to learn from a millionaire because you need to adapt their way of thinking. You need to adapt the way they see the world. And especially if you grow up like I did with a family that's not wealthy, my parents were employees. Then I go to school. My teachers are employees. Where do I learn how to grow my wealth? Where do I learn how to generate money? Where do I learn entrepreneurship, finance? Where do I learn what to do with my money? And those type of things are crucial. So I would say the number one recipe, to answer your question, the number one ingredient in the recipe is mindset change. And the only way you do that is by learning from other millionaires via reading books, listening to podcasts like this, attending seminars, watching YouTube videos, physically interacting with them. That's the only way that you can make it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we did discuss this in the previous episode. And I really want to encourage teachers who want to become financially independent to go and watch that earlier episode of ours. It is on the YouTube channel. I'll share it with the community a bit later on, where we really delved into this thing, how teachers can become financially independent. Because one thing you just mentioned that's crucial is you said you didn't at school learn how to become a millionaire. And I like this thing that, teachers are employees. Very few teachers are entrepreneurial. Very few teachers, because of the time, most likely, don't have businesses on the side and become millionaires. That's not really, the entrepreneurial mindset isn't modeled to our children in school. And it's one of the major, go on.
And it's very difficult. I mean, if you grow up in a household where your parents aren't thinking like business people, they aren't thinking like millionaires, they aren't thinking like entrepreneurs, and then you get to a school where your teachers aren't thinking that way either, and then you get to church where your community doesn't think that way either, then you visit family and they are all not thinking that way. And especially if you're raised like in a lower income class, then your parents have a lower income class mindset. They have lower income class thinking. Your community has a lower income class mindset, lower income class thinking. So as a child, as a kid, how do you change that? And that was one of the most difficult things that I had to overcome, was changing that mindset. It takes a lot of energy and it takes a lot of learning, reading, adapting to be able to change that mindset. And that is why I'm doing what I'm doing today. I started with my own community, but now going all across South Africa, teaching the youth financial concepts, financial education, teaching them how to think differently. Because I believe that if I can equip our youth of South Africa with the correct tools and techniques and mindset and thinking they need to become a millionaires, then they can also do it. It's possible for them as well, and they can reach their dreams and make their dreams come true.
One of the major criticisms of the current curriculum is the fact that we don't have like relevant financial literacy in our curriculum. There's this meme going around. It's like, I'm sure glad that my teachers taught me about Pythagoras this Pythagoras season.
Pythagoras.
Pythagoras in the Pythagoras season. Instead of like, I would have really loved to know how to do my personal income tax in the tax season. That's quite relevant. But what I want to get to is the fact that schools generally rely on school fees. Our school fee paying schools or school fee receiving schools, they generate their revenue through the fees that parents pay. They also have the subsidy from the state, but we know that doesn't cover the entire budget. So the shortfall of the budget needs to be made up, and that's generally made up out of school fees. Now we've got a major problem. What coronavirus and lockdown has showed us is, number one, our economic state in the country is dire. We've got a lot more unemployment. Parents are not earning as much as they used to, so that means we don't have a lot of disposable income available. And in actual fact, parents are just deciding, in many cases, we're not going to pay school fees anymore, which leads to the fact that our schools are suffering on the budget, on the bottom line. And what we're seeing is that our teachers are going to start losing their jobs. Pay cuts are rife, and retrenchments are everywhere. So how do we even start? If you're a principal or you're on the governing body of a school, how do we even start thinking about how do we turn things around?
And I think that starts with the fundamentals again. I think we still look at schools as schools. In actual fact, a school is a business. Without income, the school cannot survive, the school cannot operate. And I made a video the other day on my social media platforms that said, please pay. And I explained to parents that you need to pay your school fees because the school doesn't only exist with teachers and a principal. There's support staff, there's buildings that needs to pay property taxes, there's maintenance staff to take care of the fields and the classes and the building. There's a whole structure around the school that needs money to survive. So I think we need to start changing our mindset. And I think that is why we're having this talk and discussion today, to say that, look, schools are suffering now. The economic situation shows us this. And I mean, in my personal capacity, I have a few friends that are teachers that's suffering. They had pay cuts. Some of them lost their jobs. And that is the reality. And we need to switch our mind. The only way you can succeed in an economic situation like this is to think entrepreneurial. And that's the exact thing. We need to start thinking differently. If we can switch our mind around to say, we're not looking at this as a school, but we're starting to look at this as a business, then we are on the right track. I think that's the way that we can save schools, is by starting to think of schools as businesses. And then you can start applying all of the basic principles that normal businesses would apply to generate income. I mean, any business has a lot of different streams of income. They don't get all of the income from one source. They use different things to generate income, like your skill set, your assets, and your networks. They have different rules in terms of how to run a business to make sure that the business is viable and sustainable, even through an economic situation like this. So if we start viewing schools as businesses, we can start applying all of these concepts on the school. And I think that can make the difference.
Exactly. And it's not like schools don't know about fundraising. I mean, schools have been doing fundraising forever, but the challenge is that a lot of the effort needs to go in, and we don't necessarily have resources in the fact of like, maybe have resources in the fact that of time. Our teachers don't necessarily have got time to spend on that. So if we want to run an efficient business, we need to think of basic business principles that you want the best return on investment. You want to put in certain amounts of resources, but you want to keep that as low as possible in order to get the best possible return and actually make a profit out of that.
And that's exactly the right way we're going now. We're talking about return on investment. I mean, that's not looking at it as a school, that's looking at it as a business. Will this business give me a good return on investment? And when I do consulting for business owners, I love working with startups, with business owners. I do consulting with entrepreneurs to help them get their businesses in a successful space. I always start with the first question, and that is, what kind of skills do you have? What kind of networks do you have, and what kind of assets do you have? And if a business has those three things, then you can say, well, this is a viable business. We can work with this. We can start generating income. Now, if we use that same model and look at schools, they're the perfect candidates. Mm-hmm. I mean, skills, you have a massive resource pool full of skills, teachers that's qualified in all different types of industries. Networks, you have a massive network. I mean, let's say you have a school of 1,000 kids. That's 1,000 possible clients. That's a big network. And you extrapolate that to say most of the kids have 2 parents. Most of the kids have 4 grandparents. Now you're looking at least like 3,000 people in your network. Any business would love to have 3,000 loyal clients, engaging clients that is there, that they can market their products or services to. And then the third thing, assets. Does the business have any assets? And schools have assets. They have physical assets like the school building, the fields that they can use to generate income, the hall. There's a lot of things that they have that they can use, classrooms. And then they also have some of the schools have digital assets like a platform, a communication platform with all of the parents and the students. That's a very good asset to utilize. So looking at schools, they have the 3 core things that a business need in order to succeed. The next step is to say, how do we utilize those 3 things to make sure that we utilize it efficiently to get the proper return on investment on them?
Yeah. So we titled this, the name of this session, like Fundraising Ideas for Schools. And I don't want this to be like a BuzzFeed or a quick YouTube video. Like, here, 10 ways for you to raise funds at your school, because the challenge is not all schools are the same. Every single school has got a unique context, and certain things will work for individual schools and other things will work for other schools. But I like this idea of, let's start off talking about this mindset and maybe giving some, I also want to say, theoretical pointers, things to look out for, because one thing that teachers do amazingly well, and this is the art of teaching, is we can take the theory and then apply it to our unique context. It's like the curriculum. We've got the curriculum document. We know what we should teach, but we know the examples that's going to work for our own classroom because we know the context. And I think that's why we're starting this session like this, is that let's talk about, like, exactly like you just said, what are those 3 things? Can we identify the skills we have? Can we identify the network? And as you said, can we identify the assets? And then the second step is having that, do we know what is going to be efficient? What's the least effort we can do to get the most amount of money?
And we can go through a few examples now in the session. But like you said, if we have the mindset right, if you're watching this today, if you're looking at this video today, then if you can shift the mindset, you'll start seeing your school completely differently. And then no matter what type of examples we share on this video today, you will find your own solutions when you stand in the classroom, because now you won't see the school as just a school. You'll see it as a business. You will look for skills. You will look for networks. You will look for assets. You will look for products and services that you can use to give value to your client base. And if you start looking at this from a different perspective, then a lot of solutions are just going to pop out at you. Like, you wouldn't have to look and try to find a solution. By changing the mindset, solutions just pop to you. I mean, whenever I work with young entrepreneurs, they say, "Oh, but I don't know how to make money today. I can't see an opportunity." And then I ask them to tell me a bit about their lives. And then I'm like, here's a business idea that you can use with your current skill set. Here's something you can do with your current network. Here's something you can do with your assets. And I can go up to like 10 different businesses that they can use today to start making money. And then they're like, "Oh, but how did you know that? How did you see that? I was struggling for the last 5 years to find something that I can make money with. And the answer is, it's just a mindset. So that's the first step where we need to start today, and to say that, look, you need to start viewing your school differently. Then you'll start seeing opportunities all around you.
I agree with that. So let's actually make this a little bit more of a practical exercise. We do have audience members that's joining us on the Crowdcast platform, and they are waiting in the wings, ready to participate, I'm sure. So what I'd like to do, our live studio audience, maybe tell us in the comment section, in the chat. Tell us some problems you have at school, or some opportunities that you are seeing at school, and let's see whether between Albert and myself, whether we can see whether there are opportunities for a school to earn money. Because the other challenge is, we think of fundraising as almost this flash in a pan, once off type of things at school. One of the old school ways in how we used to raise money, and quite a lot of money quite quickly at schools, is having a civvy day. Like charging all the kids 5 rand to wear like civvy clothes, and then if you've got, my math is going to suck, but if you've got 1,000 kids in school and you get 5 rand per child, that's 5,000 rand. Am I right? Yeah. Okay, my math worked out. So that's 5,000 rand. But now that kids are at home, I mean, is it really such a treat in having them in civvies at school?
They can be in civvies on the Zoom call, or on
like that incentive has been taken away. So it's very, very challenging to think of, also want to say, relevant new ways to raise funds in a school.
But I mean, we can start with some of the old school ways. I mean, some of the old school ways are still relevant. You just need to do it differently. Again, thinking differently. For example, selling vetkoek of pannenkoek or waffles at school. You know, that's a boerewors rolletjies or something at the rugby. You know, that was like an old school, thing that every school has been doing for years. Now there's no rugby, and the kids aren't at the school. We need to flip it around and say, how can we still do this, but maybe do it a different way with the current economic and COVID and rules and regulations that we have around us? For example, Uber Eats and Mr. Delivery is a big thing now. How can we maybe mimic those business models to get it out there? I mean, you can bake a lot of waffles or whatever on a Friday night and get the whole school community on WhatsApp sending out, let people order a book online or purchase their waffles online, and then you can deliver it to the parents' houses. Or you can make a pickup. So at the main gates of the school, you can have your waffles there, and everyone who ordered can just drive through, and you create a whole drive-through scenario, and you deliver their Friday night waffles, or even food, other food, during the week. So there's a possible solution where you can use some of these old school methods, relook at the business model, maybe do a drive-in at your school or a delivery service at your school, and still generate funding through selling food or things like this.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, there are, if we look at the businesses that are making a real, I also want to say a killing now because of COVID, those are the things that we can mimic. If you see an industry that's really doing well, let's see how we can mimic that at a school. And just having a drive-through boerewors roll sale at your school, for instance. I mean, a lot of parents are tired of the typical takeaways. They would love something different, and they'd like to support the school. And that's one thing you said earlier, is you've got this loyal client base that really wants to see the school prosper.
And they need to. Their kids are in the school. If the school closes, their kids don't pass matric. They don't pass grade 11. So it's not just a loyal client base, like they want to support you. They need to support you. They need to keep the school open, because if the school closes, what's going to happen to the education of their kids? So it's even more than a loyal client base. You almost got a dependent client base. They are dependent on your success for their own success or the success of their children. So I think that's something that you can really utilize.
Yeah. Before we continue, let's get some more old school ways. What were the old school ways in which we raised funds at schools? Let's put that in the comment section. Let's see what are the old school ways that we used to, and now we can adapt that. But let's see. We've got Dr. Sonnekes. I think Wessel, that's you. How do we make something like a lottery ticket model where one can win some sponsored product by selling tickets more attractive at the moment? Was it not a good idea for COVID? So Loikies, the good old raffle ticket, the lottery ticket or raffle ticket model is amazing. That's a lot of money for a school.
And you can even maybe do it digitally now. You can do like this digital bidding, and then the one that comments the most or that shares the most can win the prize. And you can even do it to give your school some brand exposure. Like you can use social media as a way to do this. You can post a nice video of the school, and then you can say, instead of maybe selling a lottery ticket, you can say the person that tags the most people in this video wins the prize, or the student that shares this post the most times wins the prize. And that way you're not only doing that, but you're also building the brand. And then obviously you can do an online thing where they pay 5 Rand to enter into the draw or something like that, and then you can give away a prize.
Yeah, and you can make it quite practical. If you use Quicket, and I'm not sponsored by Quicket, but if Quicket wants to sponsor this podcast, like, let your people talk to my people. But I know Quicket is basically a ticketing purchasing platform. So you can, for instance, raise an event and let people buy tickets, and it becomes your raffle ticket. And then you can use a random number generator to pull the number of the ticket that's going to win. The big thing there when doing raffles is having a big enough incentive. Like what is it that people need now?
You need a good prize.
If your prize is a weekend away at Harties, it's gonna be a problem. The travel and tourism industry has taken a knock. So if you give away a prize while we're still in lockdown, will people want to buy the raffle?
So you need to find something that people would like to have at this stage. And maybe if that is a free voucher for food at McDonald's for a month, then maybe that's the way to go.
So this is the thing we said about mindset and looking for opportunities. We don't know the context of the school. You need to go and identify the context of your school and know what the needs of your parents are. What are the needs of the kids? If you can, for instance, put up, let's say, data. The prize is fiber installation at your home and a year's worth of data.
That's a cool prize. Or a yearly subscription to Netflix.
Yeah, well, you get the idea. So you try and identify what would be the price, but you can raffle it. And Abby, thanks. It's good seeing Abby here as well. She was the presenter of one of our webinars, of our events earlier. And she asks, how do you do this in a school that has zero online connectivity with their students? And first of all, like to say, that's a very relevant point. The digital divide, and we've been talking about this, is really hampering all of our schools, not only in education, but also in the ways in which we raise funds. So you're 100% correct. And that's why we say the context of the school is extremely important. If the kids don't have online access, doing an online raffle is not going to work.
But I have found, I've been working with a few schools now with my online course, and I have found that some of the schools have a majority of the kids that does not have online access. And then a certain part of the school or the kids, the students have online access. And what they have found, what I heard from them, is that they communicate to the group that does have access. And then that news spreads like wildfire, because normally these type of schools that have zero connectivity are very community based. So they're all very close to each other. And then the news spreads among the others. So I always say, don't let a stumbling block like that stop you from doing what you need to do. I mean, you can have different types of fundraising. You can have a physical selling a drive-through pancakes at the school, and you can have the online raffle. And then the online raffle caters to those students who does have online access. And then the physical one caters to those who wants to come out and physically visit the school, because that's another thing. People and students tend to stay in their homes and stay online. So you get these two different groups that you're working with, the online community and the offline one. And I think you need to cater for both, but never let the idea that people do not have connectivity stop you, because you would be amazed that people do have connectivity sometimes at home, or they have friends that have connectivity. I've been working with a lot of rural schools. I'm very passionate about educating the youth and empowering the youth with financial education. So I've been working with a lot of youth empowerment charities, giving my financial education to them. And what they sometimes have in the rural areas is like these community centers that is fully equipped with 100 meg fiber uncapped internet. And the students come to that location and then they get access there. And I was really amazed when I started distributing my online course to these rural communities and these charity projects, at how many of these students actually have connectivity at a community center, or they buy them data, or they put them in touch. So I think we shouldn't underestimate. We always have someone that have access. So don't let that stop you.
Yeah.
We can still reach out.
But isn't that true of business in general? Is we tend to see the stumbling blocks early. We as soon as we get an idea, we think of the ways in which this won't work, instead of thinking about the ways like, how could this work? And I agree with you. Let's not sell our community short, but let's rather like almost segment your market, knowing, because as a school, you know which kids, which families don't have access, which do, and you can you can target your initiatives directly for the different mark or segments that you've created. But Abby, I also want to say WhatsApp. If you can utilize WhatsApp, because I think at the very least, if we talk about people who at least earn an income or some form of stable income, they would have access to WhatsApp. So if you can think of a way of using WhatsApp as the communication tool to promote or to market the fundraising campaign, or just to even, if let's take the food example, you take your orders via WhatsApp. And payment via either like cash on delivery, or you can do EFT payments or stuff like that. But at least utilize the platform with the least amount of friction. And I found that WhatsApp works very well.
And you can use WhatsApp Business, for example. Load all of the students on the WhatsApp Business platform and start communicating with them that way. And I think it's crucial that we start moving to a digital era. I mean, we've seen it. The country has completely changed. I know clients that have never even opened a laptop that is now Zooming, having online meetings and stuff. Like, for example, even my dad, he used to never want to spend too much time behind his laptop or on his phone. Now that is how he does his work. So I think we all need to make that shift. And I like what Claudina is saying on the session. What about online counseling? Via text as a prize for a raffle, but not just for a prize for a raffle. That can be a fundraising in itself. I mean, I've recently, spoken to a lot of parents that says, I don't know how to teach my child. My kid is at home. He can't go to school. Now I need to kind of homeschool him or help him with his homework, and I think parents realize now what type of tough job a teacher has, and they don't know what to do. And I've heard it from a couple of parents that says, I don't know how to teach my child. I don't know how to do this homeschooling thing. And adding to Claudina's their online counseling, what if a school creates like an online counseling group or an online support group for parents to say, we'll equip you with all of the tools you need to be able to help your kid at home, to help your student at home. And then you can use it as a fundraising initiative by saying you pay 100 Rand membership per month to this parent support club or platform where the teachers support the parents to be able to give their kids education at home with this whole lockdown situation.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, and that's one of the things coming back to what you said earlier is what are the skills that we've got, and our teachers are already they know how to teach. It would be amazing if a teacher, now that we know how to make online videos, how about instead of making a video for the kids, we make a video for the parents and saying what you can do at home to assist your child is the following. Okay? And you make a little video, promo video that has the top 5 things you can do, and you make that maybe freely available to all of your teachers or to all of the parents. And then what you say is, if you'd like support, we've got this support group. It does cost money because we have to pay somebody to like man the phone or to on the other side, but just pay us some money, whatever you decide, what is affordable, to be part of this club, and we will support you personally.
And one thing that we can see now, if you look at the business sector, the businesses that really survived and that really grew during this time was subscription-based businesses. So businesses that sold a product, they tended to drop in sales, they tended to close some of their stores. Subscription-based businesses even soared. They made even more money. And that is your business, like did you really cancel your 60 Rand Netflix? Right? Did you cancel your 100 Rand subscription membership? No, but you stopped going to the mall to buy things, but you kept on paying that subscription business. So there's a good business model. If you have something like a parent support club, which is a subscription-based business where the parents pay 100 Rand a month or 50 Rand a month or 500 Rand a month to get all of the content they need, to get free videos, to get access to documents, to training courses that they can then use to equip themselves to be better parents in terms of homeschooling their kids or their students. So if we look at the skills assets networks model with our first examples of the Vetkoek or the Pannenkoek or the drive-through, there you use the school's asset. So you use the school's facility to facilitate that business. So you use the asset, you use the network by inviting the school, marketing to the parents and the students, and you can use the skills from the what's the class, the quick class from the school.
Yeah, the home economics class or the school's kitchen
to produce it. If we look at the second example of like a teachers club, then you use the skill set of the teachers to teach the parents on how to do homeschooling. You use the assets of the school, which can be the school's WhatsApp community. If you have a WhatsApp database, that's a very good asset. And then you use the network once again with all of the parents and grandparents that you can contact. So you're using the 3 basic principles in order to generate money for the school.
Well, let's have a chat about using the network as an asset, because that's one thing I know you do very well. You've got an online course that you are targeting towards children. Now, you as a business, you need a marketing channel. You want to reach parents that can or want to have the best interest of the kids at heart, that want to teach their kids about financial literacy. Now, you can, as a business, either target individual parents, or you can move through a school that already has an established community and market through them. Don't you want to take us through that a bit?
Yeah, so during this time with lockdown, I'm very passionate about educating the youth. And I used to travel the country full time. So over the last 2 years, we reached more than 18,000 students, 178 schools with my financial education, with my book, with my courses, teaching the kids about finance. And when the schools closed of lockdown, it almost broke my heart because I couldn't go out and reach these kids anymore. So then I created my course in an online version. So now I have an online young millionaire course that teaches the kids how to make money, what to do with your money, and just teaches the kids all of the basic tools and principles to become financially successful. And then I started seeing that the schools are suffering, the teachers are suffering, teachers are losing their jobs, the schools are cutting salaries. And I thought, how can I bring these two together? Because without schools, I can't educate the youth of South Africa. So the schools need to survive. So how can I save the schools? How can I save a teacher's salary while empowering the youth? And I came up with this model that said, and maybe this is another fundraising model that you guys can use for your school to generate the income. I came up with this model saying that my online course is online. It's on my website. It's already there. What I do is I create a coupon code for the school to use. The school then markets the online course to the students, to their network, their parents, their grandparents, everyone. And then for every student that does the course through my website, I dedicate to give 50% of the income back to the school. That way, the school is earning an income to help them during this tough economic times, while the student is being empowered with financial education to prepare them for future tough economic times. So it's a win-win on both sides. And I got my whole team on board. We already produced all of the marketing material. The course is online. The coupon is generated on our side. So there's really nothing that the school needs to do. It doesn't take any financial or time resources from the school. They only need to market to their network with the marketing material that we provide to them, and then just let the students do the course. We do all of the support around the course. We do all of the support with the students if they struggle going through it. So there's almost no time that's being used by the school. And at the end of the day, they get 50% of the income. And if we run the numbers, the course goes for 850 Rand. With the coupon that the student uses, they already get 150 Rand discount, so that we can track from which school each student is doing the course. That leaves us with the 700 Rand that's generated as an income. Now, 350 of that 700 Rand goes directly to the school. So if the school has 100 students that does this course, the school already generates 35,000 Rand for their school. If the school has 400 students that does this course, the school generates 170,000 Rand, 175,000 Rand for their school. I mean, that's some money that you can save a teacher's job with, that you can help the school through a tough economic situation. So that's one of the models that I've been working on to really help schools with fundraising while empowering the students.
And what I like about this, because it's not really a new model. Business have been trying to get access to schools' marketing power and their network for years. I mean, the same model is used by estate agents that market through the school, and the school gets a cut of the commission, so they get that back. I remember when I was at school, we did blombolle, these plant bulbs. I think it was Hadeco was the company, and then they used the kids as the selling agents. Like it almost sounds like illegal,
like child labor.
Child labor. But we would go out and we would sell these plant bulbs, and the school will get a cut of the sales that were made. The challenge with that is parents are like so hurtful of asking their co-workers and Oma and Opa and asking everybody to just koop 'n blombol. Just please just buy something because it's for the kids' school and their class can win stuff, which is also fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But people now, and I think I want to touch on this because Abby said this is in one of the questions. She says, how do we promote fundraising in COVID-19 environment when parents are actually losing jobs? Parents don't have money to spend. And the thing here is that with all these other type of fundraising ideas, there's a lot of work that goes in for the school and time that we don't have. COVID-19 has put pressure on teachers. We don't have the time to package little. I'm gonna write this blombol metaphor. We don't have time to package things and then give it to the kids. If you can have an online product that technically requires you to not do a lot of work or any work whatsoever. It's like send out a newsletter, communicate it to the parents. You already have that network of yours as an asset, and you just basically for sending out the message, you're making money in return.
And the thing is, that's where I got my whole team involved in this to support the school, so that the teachers doesn't have to do anything, because creating blombolle is a lot of work, you know. So I think that if a teacher doesn't have to be involved and this whole thing is run through an online platform that my team manages and supports, then that really opens up some time for the teachers to be able to do their thing. And I think that is what makes this model very, very popular or sustainable, is the fact that it doesn't take resources from the school, but it generates a lot of money for the school as a fundraiser. And that way, the return on investment is almost infinite. Because if you can use that network from the school, you use your parents and your teachers and your school kids and the grandparents, and you distribute it across this network, and only 100 or 400 of the students enroll for the course, then the school generates a lot of income from this endeavor. So I think it's a very good model.
Thanks, Wessel. He asked there, what's Albert's website's name? Albert, will you share that detail with us? I'll quickly put it in the call to action and give us the link.
So the website is www.millionaireat22.com, and you can look for the Young Millionaire course. This is how it looks. This was the physical booklet that I always used to go and do at the schools, and it goes through like all of the basics that you need in order to generate income, and it's a very practical course. Now it's online, and the students can do it from their home. And one of the teachers told me, but the students aren't at the school right now. And I said, no, they don't need to be at the school. It's a self-paced course. They take it at home when they want to. It doesn't have to interfere with the school syllabus or the school calendar. They can do it whenever they want to. And the school doesn't have to all be there as well to manage this thing, because my team manages everything. And the school doesn't have to put energy, time, or resources into it. So that's the one thing. And the other thing one of the teachers asked me is, they said the parents aren't paying school fees as is. How are you going to get them to spend money on a financial education course? Well, first things first, with lockdown and COVID, everyone realized in what dire situation our finances are. And everyone realized that we are lacking financial education. I mean, people realized that they didn't have an emergency fund. They didn't have a good investment. They didn't have a sustainable business. So I think everyone realized that this is a necessary thing that kids need to learn. Kids need to be financially equipped for the future. So I think it's something that parents will really buy into, and have over the last 3 years. We've seen parents buying into this, educating their kids. And then secondly, if you have a certain amount of parents that doesn't pay school fees, you definitely have a certain amount that does. And if you can generate more income from those parents that have the funds available, maybe they have their jobs, they have their full incomes, they are paying school fees, they can pay for additional courses and fundraising events as well. And then that makes up for the parents that can't pay. So
that's what I wanted to respond to Abby's question that she asked, is that, remember, we will have parents that can't afford this. I don't want parents to use their bread money and spend it on school fundraising. That doesn't make sense. You need to have set aside funds that you use for fundraising activities. So you don't spend your last cents on trying to assist the school. But the parents that can assist, those are the ones that you want to target, that you want them to assist with this. But inevitably there will be a portion of your parents that can afford this. But if I'm a parent and I have to pay, or I pay, 700 Rand for a course like this, when I'm not paying my school fees, and let's say for argument's sake, the school fees is 2,000 Rand a month, it's still a better education in my mind for my kid with longer lasting returns. It's easier to spend 700 Rand than 2,000 Rand.
And they're sitting at home, and parents are looking at their kids playing video games, and they're like, can't they just do something productive? And I think this online course provides them with something that they can do that really helps them with their finances in the future. So I think this is another option for fundraising. And I won't suggest to only do this option. Do it in conjunction with the drive-through, with the parent support club. And then you can also run this Young Millionaire course that generates the income. So just to summarize how it works, we already created the online course. We supply all of the marketing material. We provide your school with a coupon code. All you need to do is take that marketing material, distribute it amongst your learners and your parents and your grandparents and everyone that you possibly can. And then for each one of the kids that that takes this course with your school's coupon code, your school earns a 50% of the income generated by that course. And I think if you can generate if you can generate 175,000 Rand for your school, then I think you'll be a hero in terms of fundraising in this times.
Exactly. And I just want to emphasize this. This is a model you can look out for. We're not saying, oh, you have to use Albert's model. What we're saying is there are businesses in your community. There might be parents in your school thinking we've got an idea for a business, and this could be a model that they can copy. I'm speaking out of turn here, Albert, but are you giving people permission to copy your model?
Yeah, I mean, I'm passionate about getting financial education to the youth. And if I can generate the school some money at the same time, it's a win-win. It's a win-win for everyone. But there's other business owners that's passionate about other products. And I mean, if you can utilize your school's network to get those products to the parents, I mean, then they can also give the school a cut of the income. And that way, I mean, you have this network of parents, grandparents, children. All of them need something. What do they want? If you can figure out what they want and you can find a business that provides that, and all you need to do is connect the two, and you as a school or as a teacher can generate funding from that connection, then you can generate a lot of fundraising for your school. So yes, the model is sound. The model you can use of any type of product, any type of business. I mean, if you can build relationships with businesses in your community and say, look, we will market your tractors or your cleaning service or your delivery service or your car sales service, or we'll market your lawnmower service or gardening service or clothing service, whatever, to our network of parents and children. We want a 10% cut, or we want a 30% cut on the revenue. And you can build those relationships. Then you can give your network, your parents and grandparents and school kids, value, things that they need. You can give that to them.
That value part. You don't just want to sell frivolous stuff to the kids, or even unhealthy things. No. You want to contribute to the upliftment of the community. And I think this is where one of the major challenges lies. Before I'm going to mention that comment, I just want to ask this. We've got a comment. Is it Charmaine? Yeah, Charmaine asks, what age group does your course target, Albert?
So I showed you the course. It's based on my book, How to Become a Millionaire at 22, which was recently a bestseller. So this book and the course is written for an age group of high school. So I've presented this course to grade 8s, to matrics, to grade 11s, to grade 10s. So anyone in high school from grade 8 up to grade 12. And I've even presented this course at the University of Pretoria. And the online course is currently running at the University of Pretoria with students as well. So I think any age group between the ages of 14 to 19, so your whole high school, can really benefit from the stuff that I teach in this course. We teach them how to make money using their skills, assets, and networks. What to do with that money, how to invest it, how to grow it. What is return on investment? How do you measure it? We teach them about goal setting, providing value to their community and to the people around them. So there's a lot of stuff in there that can really equip anyone to make an income. And the stories that we've heard is amazing. 2 years ago, I did this course at a school, and one of the guys was in grade 10. He would have bought himself a PC. Instead, after the course, he bought himself a lawnmower. He started renovating lawnmowers. And he messaged me and said, Albert, I sold my first lawnmower. I made 5,000 Rand over the holidays. Wow. The other day I checked in on him. He's making 25,000 Rand a month renovating lawnmowers. He's a grade 11 student. I mean, that is, another girl is selling she started with 50 cupcakes or 10 or something. She's selling 300 cupcakes every morning at school. I mean, and it's only teaching them basic principles, financial principles that we don't learn at home, and sometimes we don't learn at school. So
I'm getting a bit of a bright spark here, Albert, and we shouldn't probably do this on air, but there's a business idea for us in this, because and that's the one thing I wanted to mention here, is that our principals aren't equipped to run a school as a business. So they might be used in creating an online course for school leadership in how to run your school as a business. So that might be another idea, because that's a challenge I wanted to mention. Our teachers and our principals are now required to not only manage a school, but to manage a business. So that's including finances, marketing, distribution. Suddenly, we as teachers and school principals need to have event management background. We need to have this financial background. And face it, most of us go into teaching for teaching. We don't go in it for managing the school. Many of our principals are just good teachers, which are not a good idea, because now we're taking them out of the classroom and putting them in an office trying to run a school.
But I mean, whenever I present this course at schools, there's always one or two teachers in the back sitting and looking at the course, and they come to me afterwards. They're like, Albert, I needed to hear this. I'm going to apply all of these things in my life. And it really changes the teachers' lives as well. You know, just learning these basic things that we missed growing up. But yes, I think this is an amazing model. I think it provides value to the students and to the school, empowering the students with financial education and empowering the school with funds in this tough economic time. So I think it's a great model. But like Francois said, you can use this model with any business in your community as well. I mean, any business that has something to sell and you have that network with people that needs that thing, that product or service, you can use that as a fundraiser if you do it in a smart way. I see Leonard is asking, can I communicate with Albert directly? Guys, if you want to present this course at your school, I normally never do this, but what I'll do is I'll give you my number, and then you can WhatsApp me directly to arrange so that we can get this online course running at your school and start generating funds for your school. So, Francois, if it's okay with you, I'll just give them my number directly, and then they can contact me.
Yeah, give us your number. I'll put it in the chat here as well.
Okay, 073 726 9111. So you can WhatsApp me anytime, and let's empower your students and let's help your school.
Let me make sure I've got this right. It's 073 726 9111.
Perfect.
Okay, so if you'd like to speak to Albert, and I know the other thing that Albert does is he assists other business owners with coaching in like how to make money in your business, especially now.
Yeah.
But we're running out of time. I mean, before this, when Albert and I, when we chatted off air, the two of us said, well, Albert asked, are we really going to chat for an hour? And here we are 55 minutes later, and I've got still probably half an hour's worth of things that I want to chat to Albert about. But before we sign off, I thought of a few other ideas for fundraising, and this could maybe be like the YouTube clip where we go 5 ideas for schools to raise funds in 2020. And there's one thing I just mentioned is this event management. One of the ways in which schools made a lot of money was through arranging events, the beauty pageants at the school, or having a sports day, and then you had everybody there. And the events industry is dead. The events industry is going to take a big battering from this, and unfortunately, schools won't be able to host events. But what we need to learn from the events industry is how they are coping with COVID. And one of the things happening, just thinking of it like from a sporting perspective, schools used to do fun runs, a 5-kilometer fun run. What are many of the other marathons? What are they doing? They are hosting virtual runs. Instead of getting everybody together, they're letting people run on their own, tracking all of that using their smartwatches, posting it on Strava and stuff like that. And they then design a whole event around the virtual run. So that might be a good idea for schools. Host a virtual event like a run, have people pay entry fee, and have prizes for the winners. So you can have the typical thing of, let's see who runs 5 kilometers the fastest, or you can go, who runs the longest distance in the set amount of time.
It's so creative. And another idea that I thought about is you have the skill set of teachers at the school. I hear it every day when people, adult people tell me, oh, I can't do maths. or ek kan nie hoofrekeninge doen nie. Why don't the school start making online courses? The school can make like a 10-minute course on Maths 101 if you're a parent, or Physics 101, or how to do certain stuff. There's so many skills at school that we can use. I mean, I was in a technical high school, so how to weld a staircase, or how to build a wood cabinet. Like, teachers can make online videos like that, and then parents can pay 50 Rand or whatever to take that online course as well. So schools can create their own online courses that can generate income as well as a fundraising initiative.
Exactly. And then the other one that I thought of, and I was like, I want to do this event now, is creating like an esports event. Our kids are playing games anyway. This lockdown has almost forced them to spend a lot more time in front of their computers. So you can start hosting esports. We've got another episode on the podcast and on the YouTube channel with Mindsport South Africa to give you a few ideas. But there's a new game out, and everybody's freaking out about this game. It's so much fun. I played it over the weekend. If you haven't played Fall Guys yet, it is a lot of fun. Albert, have you played Fall Guys yet?
No, I haven't.
It's this combination of I don't know whether you guys watched Takeshi's Castle and Wipeout. It's like a combination of Takeshi's Castle and Wipeout, and you need to try and win the different stages. And if you're the last guy left, you win the prize or whatever. You can run a league like that at school. Like, how much fun would it be if you have the kids enroll in a tournament? You let them all participate in the same party, play the event, and then you have, like, you would have had like maybe different athletics heats, and the winners of the different heats then start competing against each other. You can have a whole tournament set up like that for Fall Guys or Call of Duty, or like any of these games that the kids are already playing. Host an event.
And it's a massive market. I mean, I think it was last year when the Dota Championships, which is an online game that they play against each other, had the highest prize pool in any sports. I mean, so people are really getting on this train. And if you can use that, then that is also a great opportunity as a fundraiser.
And the cool thing is, our kids already know how to do this. They just need the guidance from a teacher. Like, okay, this is how we can do it in school or for the whole school. So that's one thing. And then the other thing that I thought about, and this is something I've been proclaiming for years now, is schools need to start their own YouTube channels and their own podcasts. An interview show like the one that I've got for Super Teachers Unite. The idea is to give exposure to the other superheroes in education. But imagine if a school has a YouTube channel or a podcast where they interview the community. If you've got 1,000 kids in the school, let's say you've got 700 parents, okay, because some of them have got more kids in the family than others, then you can have an interview with them. You've got prominent people in your network, and you can start having shows like this that's going to educate the other parents. It almost becomes like the new newsletter for the school. But then, as you would have in print media, because all the schools did this, you've got a print newsletter, and then you have other companies pay to advertise in your newsletter. Why not do this with your school's podcast? Why not do this with your school's YouTube channel? And if schools need assistance in setting that up, I mean, I've been doing this now for the last 4 years. So chat to me. I can.
Yeah, and then you sell that ad space on the content that you provide. Again, using your assets, the people in your school, using your network, the parents, and then using your skills. Extracting skills from these different people, and that then generates the income for the school.
And just the opportunities that you get, because you'd speak to somebody that's going to build the network to somebody else that can have an idea on how we raise funds for schools. That's definitely something that schools need to do. And then the last one, Albert, I want to throw this one to you. I believe all schools must have an online store on their website.
For sure. I mean, that is something that should have been there 10 years ago when online shopping became a thing. And even Takealot grew and Amazon grew more than it has ever done before during this lockdown time. People are now shopping online. They're now buying things online. I mean, you can sell all of the stationery supplies that your students need on your online store at your school at a markup. Even if you just put R1 markup on an item, imagine your whole school ordering all of their stationery from the school's website. That is a massive amount of money that you can generate for the school. And then you can also sell merchandise like T-shirts and caps and all kinds of things, school clothes. I used to remember when we wanted to buy school clothes, we needed to go to a certain Handelshuis down the road to get the school clothes. A school can sell that from their online shop and generate an income, a profit margin on that. Stationery, clothes, all kinds of other products like we've mentioned before. Like they can buy the online course on the website. They can buy, all kinds of they can maybe buy all kinds of things on the online store that the school is affiliated with, even if it's like glasses or cutlery or whatever. You can really use that online store to generate a lot of income by putting a profit margin on certain items that you sell online. And people are buying online. And you don't have to have the delivery function.
Exactly.
Because you can give it to the kid at school. So it cuts the costs of having an online shop that needs a delivery function, because the kid just picks it up at school. The parent just picks it up at Takealot has these delivery centers where you can do a quick pickup point. You can just have a pickup point at school and sell books, sell extra reading materials, sell all kinds of things on an online store. The options are infinite. There's really nothing that is not possible.
And the great thing is you also don't really need warehouse space or storage space anywhere, because you build a back channel with the suppliers that you work with. And it's almost like when the parent clicks on the button to purchase through the school, it already registers on the supplier side. They know, let's say once a week we deliver what the orders were to the school, and the school distributes from there. It's a win for everyone.
And I think, Francois, what I'm taking from this whole interview that we've had today is that network is the school's most valuable asset.
Yeah.
The network that the school has with the parents, with the grandparents, with the students, they have this access to these 3,000 or 5,000, or in extension, if you go, aunts and uncles. And it can even be 10,000 people that they have access to through the school. And sometimes the school is even the center of a community. There's trust. It's a valuable network. It's a trustworthy network that they have access to. And I think that is the biggest thing that schools needs to start using for fundraising. And we just need to start being creative about it, start using online platforms and online products and services, and move with the times, and then utilize that network to keep the school alive.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to end us off with this comment that Wessel made. Delivery can be done by the entrepreneur child with a bicycle. That's the point. Let's empower our kids. Let's see what type of opportunities we can give the children and our community. And I agree with what Albert just said. It's like the school becomes a hub for the community. It's not just an education hub where we go to learn. It's actually a place where we can help the community to thrive. Well, that's about the time that we have. Albert, I want to thank you for being on the show today and sharing this wisdom with us. I'm sure there's still a lot that we can chat about. What we will do is we will share all Albert's details when we send out this on YouTube, on Facebook, and on our podcast platforms. But please go and check out www.millionaire@22.com, or you can contact Albert, and I think he's going to regret this and giving out his personal number. I told him this might be very disastrous for you, because you're going to get messages like you won't believe. But you can contact him on 073 726 9111, and that really is his personal number.
WhatsApp works best. Don't call, rather WhatsApp.
But who calls anyway?
But
voice note.
Please feel free, if you want to use my model that I came up with to empower the students of financial education and generate income for your school. please feel free to contact me at any time. We'll provide you with all of the marketing material, the coupon code, everything is already there, and we can start immediately and start saving jobs and start saving and generating more income for the school. So I'm all for that.
Albert, thank you so much. That brings us to the end of today's episode. If you really enjoy what we do here, because the whole focus is to motivate, inspire, and support teachers so that we can make a positive difference in each and every classroom. If you believe in the motto and the message of the show, please like it and subscribe and share it and just be part of the community. I would really appreciate that. It helps us reach more people. So until next time, my name is Francois Nordier and I'm a super teacher, and with me we've got entrepreneur and millionaire at 22, Albert van Wyk.